The cold void of space stretched endlessly as the Zephyr exploration vessel, the Starseeker, glided silently toward an uncharted blue planet spinning slowly beneath the glow of a distant sun. Commander Raylac stood at the observation deck, his sharp eyes fixed on the swirling clouds and vast oceans below. This was supposed to be just another routine mission, a simple survey of a seemingly untouched world in a distant sector of the galaxy. The data they had collected so far painted the picture of a planet covered mostly in water, dotted with land masses that seemed to host small scattered settlements. To the Zephyr, a species known for their technological mastery and interstellar conquests, these human inhabitants appeared primitive, barely scratching the surface of what the universe had to offer. Yet as the ship's scanners began to capture clearer images of the planet's surface, Raylax could not shake a strange feeling of curiosity mixed with something like unease. What secrets did this place hold beneath its quiet exterior? The aliens aboard the vessel were an efficient team, accustomed to charting new worlds and cataloging new life forms with cold precision. Their technology far surpassed anything seen in this sector, and their ships could traverse light years in days. But Earth, as the humans called it, seemed to challenge their assumptions. The settlements they detected were scattered across diverse landscapes, from dense forests to vast deserts and towering mountain ranges. The people themselves appeared small and fragile when viewed from orbit, yet their civilizations seemed deeply rooted and complex in their own way. Raylax gathered his crew in the briefing room, a place filled with holographic displays showing the latest scans. "This world is unlike the others we've encountered," he said, voice steady and commanding. "Our sensors detect no advanced technology, no weapons, no large-scale industry, no space travel. These humans seem unaware of the greater galaxy beyond. Their skies. For now, we can classify them as non-threatening." Despite his confident words, Raylax's mind wandered back to the faint energy signals picked up from certain regions, signals that did not match any natural phenomenon known to Zephyr science. They were weak but persistent, emanating from ancient ruins scattered across the planet's surface. Most of these ruins were hidden under dense vegetation or buried beneath layers of earth, suggesting a civilization long gone or deliberately concealed. The crew debated the meaning of these signals, but no one could explain them. To most, these traces were nothing more than relics of a lost culture, remnants of a forgotten past. But Raylax wondered if there was more to Earth than met the eye. Were these ruins just ruins, or did they hold some secret power? As the Starseeker descended through the planet's atmosphere, the ship's instruments captured breathtaking views of sprawling cities, winding rivers, and vast farmlands. The humans moved about their daily lives, oblivious to the silent eyes watching from above. Raylax noticed the simplicity of their tools, the lack of advanced machinery, and the absence of any sign of global communication networks beyond basic radio waves. These were people connected more to the land and their immediate surroundings than to any grand technology. But what caught his attention most was the resilience etched into their faces, the way they worked together, built their homes, and thrived. Despite the planet's occasional harsh weather and natural disasters, there was an ancient strength in them, a determination that even the cold logic of the Zephyr could not ignore. The landing party was soon dispatched to a remote location near one of the energy signal sources, a mountainous area covered in thick forests and ancient stone structures carved into the cliffs. The team included Raylax, the ship's chief scientist Yellen, and a small group of explorers equipped with scanning devices and protective gear. As they approached the ruins, the air seemed to change, thicker, charged with an unseen energy that sent tingles through their limbs. The stones beneath their feet were smooth but cold, inscribed with strange symbols that glowed faintly in the dim light filtering through the canopy. Yellen ran her scanners over the carvings, her eyes widening with amazement as data streamed onto her display. "Commander, this is unlike anything we've seen before. These structures emit low-frequency energy pulses, and the symbols appear to be a form of language, ancient yet incredibly advanced." Raylax nodded slowly, his mind racing. "Prepare to take samples. We need to understand what power this civilization held. If it's as significant as it seems, it could change everything we know about Earth, and perhaps ourselves." The team carefully, collected fragments of crystal-like material embedded in the walls, hoping to unlock their mysteries back on the ship. Yet, as night fell, an uneasy silence settled over the ruins. The usual sounds of wildlife grew quiet, and the explorers felt watched as if the very stones held eyes unseen. Raylax glanced around, every sense alert. The planet might seem peaceful, but it was clear it held secrets that demanded respect. Back, aboard the Starseeker, the initial excitement gave way to deeper reflection. The data from the ruins baffled the scientists. The crystals pulsed with energy not matching any known element, and the ancient language hinted at technologies that defied current understanding. Raylax studied the images of humans going about, their lives, unaware of the dormant power beneath their feet. A question gnawed at him. If these people were truly primitive, why had they built such complex energy systems long ago? And what had caused them to lose this knowledge? The answers lay buried in the shadows of history, waiting to be uncovered. Despite the mystery, Raylax reminded his crew of their mission's priority, to observe and report, not interfere. Yet the line between watching and involvement blurred as their discoveries deepened. The planet's quiet surface masked an ancient strength, a power that could awaken and change the course of events for all species involved. Commander Raylax stood once more at the observation deck, eyes fixed on the glowing blue orb below. What had started as a simple exploration was now the beginning of something far greater and far more dangerous than anyone aboard the Star-Seeker could have imagined. As the days passed, the Zephyr team's fascination with Earth grew deeper, especially after the strange signals emanating from beneath the planet's remote mountain ranges caught their attention. These signals were unlike anything they had encountered before, rhythmic pulses of energy that seemed to communicate in a silent language, hinting at hidden power far older than the surface civilization suggested. Commander Raylax decided to send a small recon team to investigate further. This team, composed of the ship's top explorers and scientists, including Yellen and the skilled engineer Dravos, descended through thick forests and jagged cliffs, following the faint hum that guided them through dense shadows. The journey was difficult. The air grew colder and heavier with each step, and the sense of mystery wrapped tightly around them like a thick fog. As they finally reached the base of the mountain, the ground vibrated softly beneath their boots, as if the planet itself was alive and watching. Hidden beneath layers of rock and earth, they discovered an ancient entrance carved meticulously into the stone, a gateway large enough to suggest that something grand awaited inside. With caution and excitement, they moved into the dark passage, their flashlights piercing the gloom, revealing walls etched with symbols that shimmered faintly under their beams. These markings were unlike any recorded language, intricate and flowing, as if telling stories of a forgotten era. The path led them down, deeper and deeper, until they arrived at a vast underground chamber that seemed to pulse with energy. The room was enormous, stretching far beyond the limits of their lights, filled with strange glowing crystals embedded in the walls and ceiling. These crystals emitted soft blue and green lights that danced like stars in the darkness, casting eerie reflections on the smooth metallic surfaces scattered throughout. Among the relics were devices of unknown purpose, machines that hummed with dormant power, intricate circuits woven like delicate threads, and spheres that glowed with an internal fire. It was clear to the team that this was no ordinary ruin, but a forgotten center of advanced technology. As they ventured further, the air grew charged with a palpable energy, and at the chamber's heart, they found a power core unlike anything Zephyr science had ever documented. It was a sphere of light and metal, dormant yet alive, softly humming as if waiting for something to awaken it. The core's surface shifted in patterns of light that seemed almost like breathing, alive with a quiet strength. Yellen's scanners went wild trying to analyze the energy it emitted, unable to classify it within their known scientific parameters. Dravos carefully approached and placed a hand on the core, feeling a vibration resonate through his entire body, a connection that was at once strange and familiar. The team stood in awe, realizing that this ancient power was not alien. It was Earth's own legacy, created by a civilization that had once reached heights far beyond their current understanding. The realization hit them hard. Earth was not the primitive world they had assumed. Its history was hidden in these depths, waiting to be uncovered. As they prepared to document their findings, the chamber suddenly shuddered, and the crystals pulsed brighter, casting long shadows that flickered, like restless spirits. The hum from the core grew louder, filling the room with a low vibration that seemed to echo through time itself. For a brief moment, the team wondered if they had disturbed something better left sleeping. Commander Raylax, observing from the ship via live feed, felt a tension rise in his chest. The discovery was groundbreaking, but it also carried a warning. The power buried beneath Earth was immense and mysterious, capable of changing the fate of all who touched it. The recon team began collecting samples and data, careful not to damage the delicate structures, aware that they were standing on the threshold of a revelation that could rewrite history. Each moment spent in the chamber deepened the sense of connection between the present and the forgotten past, a bridge to a time when humans might have been far more than simple survivors. With their findings secured, the team prepared to return to the surface, but the echo of the chamber's hum lingered in their minds, a haunting reminder that Earth's secrets were far from fully revealed. As they ascended back through the mountain's winding tunnels, the glow of the crystals faded behind them, but the memory of the power core's pulse remained vivid, a silent promise that something ancient and powerful still slept beneath the ground, waiting for the right moment to awaken once more. Dr. Lila Morgan was no ordinary archaeologist. With years of experience exploring Earth's forgotten sites, she had developed a keen intuition for sensing the mysteries hidden beneath layers of dust and time. Her latest expedition brought her to the remote mountain range where the Zephyr explorers had detected the strange energy signals. Unaware of the alien presence watching her from afar, Lila was drawn to an ancient cave entrance marked by strange symbols carved into the rock, symbols she had seen before but never fully understood. Equipped with only basic tools and her unwavering curiosity, she descended into the darkness, her lantern casting flickering light on the walls that whispered stories from the past. As she ventured deeper, the air grew cooler and filled with a soft humming sound, almost like a heartbeat pulsing through the stone itself. At the heart of the cavern, Lila found a chamber unlike any she had imagined, a vast underground hall filled with glowing crystals and metallic structures that shimmered faintly in the dim light. She approached a large spherical device resting on a pedestal, its surface smooth yet alive with subtle patterns of light that seemed to respond to her presence. Without fully understanding why, Lila reached out and placed her hand on the sphere. The moment her skin touched the cold surface, the chamber pulsed with energy. The power core awoke, sending waves of radiant light flooding the room. Lila staggered back, feeling a surge of strength ripple through her body. Her mind sharpened instantly, thoughts racing faster than she had ever known possible. Images and knowledge flooded her consciousness. Ancient histories, advanced technologies, and forgotten wisdom whispered directly into her mind. Around her, the crystals flared brighter, casting dazzling patterns across the walls, as if celebrating the return of their ancient master. Meanwhile, high above in orbit, the Zephyr crew watched in stunned silence as their sensors detected the core's sudden reactivation. Commander Raylax stared at the monitors, eyes wide with disbelief. The energy readings skyrocketed beyond anything their instruments had predicted, and the patterns of power shifted unpredictably. What was more alarming was the change in the humans themselves. From their view, they saw Lila's figure glowing faintly with a strange aura, her movements more confident, almost otherworldly. Reports began to come in from ground teams, humans displaying bursts of extraordinary strength, solving complex problems in moments and enduring injuries with remarkable resilience. The aliens realized that this ancient power was awakening a dormant potential within Earth's inhabitants, something that went far beyond the primitive species they had assumed. This revelation shook the foundation of their mission. The humans were not mere survivors. They were carriers of a lost legacy, stewards of an ancient galactic force that had once influenced the cosmos itself. As the energy waves spread outward from the chamber, other humans near the site began to feel the effects. Farmers, workers, and children suddenly found themselves capable of feats that defied explanation. A local farmer lifted a heavy boulder with ease, while a young child solved complex puzzles that had baffled experts for decades. News of these strange occurrences quickly spread, sparking awe and fear among the population. Meanwhile, the Zephyr debated their next move. Some argued that this power could be dangerous if left unchecked, a threat that must be contained or controlled. Others felt a growing respect for humanity's resilience and potential, suggesting that the humans deserved a chance to reclaim their forgotten heritage. Commander Raylax, burdened by the weight of leadership, wrestled with these conflicting views. He knew that any misstep could lead to conflict, but denying the truth would be a betrayal of their mission to understand new worlds. Back on Earth, Dr. Morgan found herself changed in ways she could not explain. Her thoughts were clearer, her body stronger, and a strange sense of purpose filled her every action. She knew that the power she had awakened was a gift, but also a responsibility. Determined to uncover the full truth behind the ancient civilization and their connection to the present day, Lila set out to explore deeper into the ruins. She felt a connection to the planet and its hidden history that transcended time. The tension between humans and aliens grew palpable as both sides grappled with the implications of the reawakened power. For the first time, Earth was no longer a distant curiosity to the Zephyr. It was a world of mystery, strength, and untapped potential that demanded respect and careful handling. As night fell over the mountain range, the glowing crystals in the underground chamber pulsed softly, a steady heartbeat signaling that the past had truly awakened. And with it, the future of Earth had forever changed. With the ancient power stirring once more beneath the surface of Earth, the people of the planet began to feel a shift within themselves, a rekindling of strength, knowledge, and unity that had been buried under centuries of forgotten history. Communities that had once been isolated now found themselves connected by a common purpose, to reclaim the heritage that had been lost, but was now waking up inside them. Ordinary men and women discovered abilities that defied explanation. Farmers, who could move heavy stones, teachers who could recall vast libraries of knowledge instantly, and healers who seemed able to mend wounds faster than nature allowed. This awakening spread quickly, like a rising tide that touched every corner of the globe. News traveled fast, and soon it reached the ears of the Zephyr explorers who had been silently observing from orbit. For the aliens, this was a moment of both wonder and dread. Commander Raylax convened his council, his face stern with concern. The power that the humans were tapping into was unlike anything they had ever encountered, something ancient, wild, and unpredictable. It wasn't merely a source of energy, but a force that could reshape realities and upset the delicate balance that governed the cosmos. The Zephyr had always believed they were the keepers of order, protectors of peace in the galaxy. To them, such raw power in the hands of a species they once thought primitive posed a grave risk. After much debate, the decision was made. They would intervene. A task force was deployed to Earth's surface with a clear mission: to confiscate the relics and contain the power before it could spiral beyond control. What the Zephyr did not fully expect was the strength of the human response. Empowered by the ancient energy, the people of Earth were no longer the same. They resisted with fierce determination, driven not only by the desire to protect their newfound abilities, but also by a deep-rooted sense of freedom and pride in their heritage. It was not just a battle of weapons or technology, it was a clash of ideologies. On one side stood the aliens, representing order, control, and a vision of the galaxy where power was held by the few. On the other stood the humans, fighting for respect, history, and the right to shape their own destiny. The conflict erupted near the ruins where the power core had first awakened. Humans, using both their natural ingenuity and the enhanced abilities granted by the core's energy, devised clever tactics that surprised the Zephyr. They utilized the terrain, ancient traps, and even the power of the crystals themselves to defend their home. Small groups of humans moved swiftly and silently, outsmarting the more technologically advanced but less adaptable alien forces. In towns and cities, protests and demonstrations showed the world's growing unity, as people from all walks of life stood together against the foreign threat. Leaders emerged, visionaries who spoke not only of defense but of a future where Earth could rise as a powerful voice among the stars. Commander Raylax found himself facing a dilemma he had never imagined. The humans were not the simple beings his people had assumed. They were capable of greatness, resilience, and above all, hope. He saw in their eyes a spark that echoed his own people's history, a desire to be free and respected. Yet the risk remained. If the power fell into reckless hands, it could lead to chaos on a cosmic scale. The standoff grew tense, with negotiations attempted and broken, warnings issued and ignored. The atmosphere was thick with uncertainty, the fate of Earth hanging in the balance. In the midst of this, Dr. Lila Morgan and her team worked tirelessly to uncover more about the ancient civilization that had once wielded this power responsibly. Their discoveries painted a picture of a people who had thrived in harmony with the energy, using it to build a peaceful and advanced society, only to be brought down by forces unknown. Inspired by this history, the humans saw their struggle not just as resistance but as a chance to restore what was lost and honor the lessons of the past. Battles raged, both physical and ideological, testing the limits of courage and conviction on both sides. The humans' ingenuity and determination matched the Zephyr's superior technology, and for every advance the aliens made, the humans found new ways to defend and adapt. As the conflict wore on, a fragile respect began to form between some of the humans and aliens. Both sides realized that true strength lay not in domination, but in understanding and cooperation. Commander Raylax, once convinced of the need to control, now entertained the possibility of partnership. The ancient power beneath Earth was not just a tool to be seized or suppressed. It was a legacy to be honored and a bridge to a future where different worlds could learn from each other. As the sun set over the mountain ruins, the air hummed with tension and hope. The clash of powers had ignited a fire that would not easily be extinguished, but it had also opened the door to a new chapter, one where humanity's rediscovered strength could shine brightly in the galaxy, not as conquerors or victims, but as equals, united by history and the will to shape their destiny. The battle was far from over, but the story of Earth's awakening had begun, promising a future filled with challenges, alliances, and the enduring spirit of a people reclaiming their place among the stars. The aftermath of the great clash between Earth's awakened humanity and the Zephyr aliens was unlike any battle in galactic history. Both sides had suffered losses, but they also gained a deeper understanding of each other's strength and spirit. The power that had once lain dormant beneath Earth had not only rekindled ancient human potential, but also forged a new respect between two very different civilizations. Commander Raylax, once the firm believer in control and order, now stood at a crossroads. Watching the resilience of humanity, their courage, their determination, and their willingness to unite in the face of overwhelming odds, he realized that Earth was not a planet to be ruled, but a partner to be honored. In quiet meetings beneath the stars, representatives from the Zephyr and human leaders came together, cautiously building a foundation for cooperation. It was an uneasy alliance at first, filled with questions and suspicions, but also a shared hope that this was the beginning of something greater. The ancient power core remained a symbol of this new chapter, a beacon of light reminding both sides that the past and future were deeply connected. Scientists and scholars from Earth and Zephyr worked side by side, unlocking the secrets of the relics and learning how to safely harness the energy that had awakened so many hidden talents in humanity. New technologies emerged from this collaboration, blending human creativity with Zephyr knowledge, leading to innovations that could change life for everyone involved. Earth itself began to transform, as the people embraced their heritage and prepared to step onto the galactic stage. Cities flourished with new energy, and cultures revived old traditions that spoke of a proud history linked to the stars. The sense of isolation that had once defined humanity was replaced by a powerful connection to the universe. Humans who had once felt small and insignificant now walked with a new confidence, knowing they held a legacy far older and grander than they had ever imagined. As the alliance strengthened, Earth's leaders were invited to join the Galactic Council, gathering of many worlds who governed the affairs of the cosmos. This was a moment of great pride and responsibility. It marked the recognition of Earth as a vital player in galactic matters, not a hidden world, but a shining example of hope and unity. Yet even with this progress, challenges remained. The power core's energy was immense, and its use required wisdom and care. There were those who feared that the ancient force could still bring destruction if misused, and both humans and Zephyr remained vigilant against threats from beyond. But the spirit of cooperation and mutual respect had laid the groundwork for a future where differences could be bridged and strengths combined. For Dr. Lila Morgan, who had first touched the power core and awakened the past, the journey had been transformative. She stood as a bridge between worlds, a symbol of humanity's potential to grow and learn from others while honoring its roots. Her work continued, exploring the mysteries of Earth's ancient civilization and guiding the responsible use of the power now entrusted to humanity. As Earth rose from the shadows of forgotten legends, it became clear that this was only the beginning. The galaxy was vast and full of wonders and dangers, but humanity was ready, stronger, wiser, and united. The ancient power once lost to time had become a symbol of hope, not just for Earth, but for all who dreamed of peace and progress among the stars. With new friends among the stars and the strength of their own heritage behind them, humans looked forward to a future where they could explore, create, and protect, playing their part in the grand story of the universe. The stars no longer seemed distant and unreachable, but part of a shared destiny, one that promised endless possibilities for those brave enough to seize them.